Gaffer, first day out of the way today, how does it feel to be back?
Yeah, delighted, great day for it as well. The sun was out today for the players to start their first day back with the yo-yo test. It's never easy, I've been there as a player, but I thought the application from everyone was first class today.
Yeah, how pleased were you with the fitness levels of the players returning?
Yeah, really pleased. I think they've obviously worked hard over the summer. Lewis and myself and the staff gave them a plan away with them to maintain, and like I say, I think with the results today, it shows that they've been certainly working while they've been off.
And I know that the fitness is obviously the most important part of this pre-season as well, but is there that tactical aspect as well in terms of your goals for this pre-season? What is it what you're looking to achieve?
Yeah, we will get down to that in the next couple of days. The first couple of days is all about testing, getting a bit of running in the legs, and then we'll probably start next week leading up to the game against Annan. We'll start going more in depth of how we're looking to go about our business this season in terms of the shape and where we want to be in the pitch and where we want the players with and without the ball. All the general stuff that you do through pre-season. So we'll ramp that up as the days go by, but certainly now it's the first couple of days is all about getting the legs moving again.
And on a personal note for you this summer, you've of course achieved your UEFA Pro licence. How big a moment is that for you? And I suppose, is there things that you can take from that heading into this pre-season and the coming season?
Yeah, I certainly think so. I'm really proud of the achievements that I've got over the last 2 seasons. It's a prestigious award, the Pro licence, the SFA. Again, I've got to thank them for allowing me on the course. It's very difficult to get on. There only has 20 applicants per quota. But also I'd like to thank the club, my staff, Sean Strain, my analyst, for the work that they put in to help me gain this qualification. It's 10 years of hard work. And I've basically got everything that I need now to go and fulfil my ambitions in the game. And like I say, I thank Greenock Morton for giving me that opportunity to complete the course.
And recently we saw 4 contract extensions announced: Ali, Crawford, Grant Gillespie, Sam Murdoch and Ian Wilson. How important was it to get those players tied down and keeping that chemistry from the team last season? Yeah, it was important that we kept the nucleus of the group. We've lost key players this summer. It's always difficult when you're losing your best players and you've got to try and find new players that come in and have the same impact. I've got to thank Jack Baird. He was colossal for me in the 3 years I had him here. Arguably for me, one of the best centre backs in the division, and obviously I'm really disappointed to lose him. But I understand his reasoning for leaving. Morgan as well came in last season. I thought he had a terrific season. He gave his balance on the left hand side, and again we've lost another key player. And yeah, that's two I've named. Obviously Aaron Lyle's another one. A young lad I brought in for Rangers. And I thought last season he was outstanding for us. Certainly at such a young age to play the amount of games he did and the level he played them at was testament to Aaron's character. And it's never easy losing. Like I say, losing your best players. Obviously we're still in talks with 1 or 2, but the likelihood of them coming back is probably a no, for reasons out with my control. So, like I say, I just like to wish every player that played under us last season a big thank you, because they gave me everything. They were there every day for me in training. They gave me everything on a Saturday, and without that, you don't have the success. So again, like I say, from my own point of view, I'd just like to thank the players that were certainly here last season. And it's the first game of pre-season next Saturday, of course. How much are you looking forward to getting back out on the pitch and seeing the boys back in action and maybe sort of keeping your eye on some other players that you're looking to bring in?
Yeah, it's obviously the games come quick and fast. We've got a week on Saturday and we go Tuesday, and then we move on to the games after that. But yeah, it's good to get back. Obviously we need to try and get players in. We're very thin at the moment. We're actively trying to get players in, but it's very difficult with what people are asking for. We can only spend what we can spend within our budget, and we'll never overspend. So we have to be careful, but we also need to build a competitive squad that's capable of winning games in this division next season, because in my opinion next season is probably going to be one of the toughest seasons in the league. You know, you've got 2 Premier League teams that have came down. In St Johnstone and Ross County, they'll be looking to go straight back up. And then you've also got the teams that were in and around it last season. You know, Ayr, Rafe Rovers, Partick Thistle, and Arbroath coming back up will be a challenge. I'm sure Airdrie will be a competitive team again next year. You know, they had their troubles at the early part of summer last year, and that kind of affected them, but they turned the corner after January. So we know how difficult this division is, and if you don't start well, then you could certainly find yourself behind.